The void between stars was supposed to be empty. Captain Elias Kane repeated the thought like a mantra as the CSS Marauder S floodlights carved jagged shadows across the derelict's hull. No transponder, no drive signatures, just a ship, black as a singularity, drifting in the dead silence of uncharted space. "Tell me that's not a ghost story," muttered Jacksfelt, the Marauder S-engineer, his fingers dancing over the scanner. The man's usual smirk was absent, replaced by a tension that sharpened his accent. "Scans show no power, no life signs, but the hull's intact. No breaches. That's not natural." Kane exhaled, the weight of command pressing harder than the zero-G harness. "Mira, anything on comms?" Lieutenant Mira Suva didn't glance up from her console, her dark brows furrowed. "Nothing, not even static. But—" She hesitated, her voice dropping. "There's a residual energy signature. Faint, but it's pulsing." A chill prickled Kane's neck. Salvage was their trade, but this felt like a trap. The derelict's angular silhouette, its surface swallowing light like Vanablack, screamed wrongness. Yet the Marauder-esque coffers were lean, and corporate contracts didn't reward caution. "Prep the docking clamp," Kane ordered. "Jax, full sensor suite. Mira, keep trying to raise anything out there." Jax groaned. "You're really making me go over there, huh?" But he was already strapping on his tool harness, the glint in his eyes betraying his thrill. Mira unbuckled, her movements precise. "I'll suit up too. If there's data, I'll find it." Kane studied her. Mira was their best codebreaker, but her curiosity bordered on recklessness. "Stick to protocol. No heroics." Her lips quirked. "When have I ever?" The airlock hissed open, revealing the derelict's docking port, ancient yet seamless, as if fused shut. Jax ran a hand along the edge. "This alloy is not just armored. It's alive. Feels like it's humming." Myra's glove clicked against the access panel. No controls. No markings. Just this. She pointed to a faint glyph near the hinge, a spiral etched in something that glinted like obsidian. Kane's helmet cam zoomed in. "Never seen that before." "Hey, Cap," Jax called from the flank. "If this thing's dead, why is the airlock charged?" Before Kane could answer, the mechanism shuddered, with a sound like a dying breath. The door slid open. Darkness yawned beyond. The Marauder S-beams cut in, revealing a corridor choked with dust, but no debris, no bodies. Just smooth walls veined with those same spirals, pulsing faintly under the light. Mira stepped inside. Gravity stable. Atmosphere breathable but stale, like it's been cycling for centuries. Jax whistled. Someone left the lights off, though. His headlamp flickered over a sealed door at the corridor's end. "Bridge, maybe?" Kane's grip tightened on his sidearm. "Stay sharp." "Jax, check for power sources." "Mira, document everything." "I want—" A noise cut him off. A whisper of metal, distant but deliberate. All three froze. "Tell me that was a ship settling," Jax muttered. Myra's hand hovered over her holster. "It came from ahead." Kane signaled advance. The door at the end was colder than the rest, its surface slick under his touch. No handle, no panel, just a single glyph at eye level. Mira traced it. "It's reacting." The spiral darkened at her touch, then flared crimson. The door hissed open. Beyond lay a chamber, hexagonal and vast, its walls lined with what looked like cryopods, all shattered, their glass frosted with age. But at the center stood a single intact pod, its surface opaque except for a flickering display. Jax edged closer. "That's not human tech." Mira was already at the console, her gloves brushing the interface. "There's power here. Minimal, but—" The screen flared to life, glyphs scrolling too fast to follow. Then a sound, a voice distorted as if through water. "Containment failed, they're awake." The lights died. 4-3 heartbeats. There was only blackness and the rasp of breath in helmets. Then the emergency strips flared red, casting the chamber in bloody twilight. Something moved in the shadows behind Jax. Kane's pistol was up before he processed it, a shape low and too fast, darting behind the pods. "Contact!" "Form up." Jax spun, wrench raised. The hell was that? Myra's voice was steady, but her hands shook. The transmission looped. It said containment failed. The glyphs on the walls pulsed once, then went dark. Silence. Then, from the corridor behind them, a scrape of claws on metal. Kane's comm crackled. Asterisk Marauder Asterisk team. We're seeing energy spikes on the derelict. Get back now. The pod at the center hissed. Its surface cleared. Inside, a corpse stared back. Not human. Not anything Kane recognized. Its mouth frozen in a scream. Myra's breath hitched. That's not the source of the transmission. A thud shook the door behind them. Then another. Something was knocking back. The knocking stopped. Kane's finger hovered over his pistol's trigger, his pulse loud in his ears. The derelict's red emergency lights painted the chamber in jagged shadows, stretching the corpse's hollow eye sockets into grotesque voids. Jack's back toward the pod, wrench raised like a talisman. Tell me that wasn't the wind. Mira didn't answer. Her gloves flew across the cryopod's interface, glyphs flaring under her touch. This isn't a tomb, she whispered. It's a cage. The transmission was a warning. A screech of metal cut her off. The door at the corridor shuddered, its hinges groaning. Kane grabbed her arm. Move. Now. They sprinted for a side passage, narrow, claustrophobic, just as the main door burst inward. Kane didn't look back. The thing chasing them moved wrong. A skittering, liquid sound, like bones dragged over glass. Jax's breath came in ragged bursts. We're being herded. The passage dead-ended at a circular hatch. No glyphs, no controls. Mira slammed her palm against it. Stuck. Kane shouldered her aside, digging his fingers into the seam. Jax, cut it. Jax's plasma torch flared to life, its blue glow etching panic across his face. Whatever's behind us really doesn't like light. The skittering had paused at the edge of the passage. Mira pressed against the wall, her tablet scanning the hatch. It's a manual lock, ancient design. Her voice steadied. There's a release here. She pried open a hidden panel, revealing a lever crusted with age. The torch sputtered. Jack swore. Hurry! Kane kept his pistol trained down the passage. A shape flickered at the periphery of the light. Tall, too thin, its limbs jointed at unnatural angles. Then darkness swallowed it again. The lever gave with a scream of rust. The hatch slid open just enough to squeeze through. Jax dove in first, torch flaring behind him. Move, move. Kane shoved Mira through, then followed as the skittering erupted into a sprint. He fired blind. The shot sparked off metal, illuminating the thing for a fraction of a second. A nightmare of blackened cartilage in too many eyes, before the hatch sealed shut. Silence. They were in a control room, smaller than the chamber but lined with shattered screens. A single intact panel flickered, casting sickly green light over a chair bolted to the floor, and the skeletal remained strapped into it. Human. Mira stepped forward, her voice hollow. That's impossible. The corpse wore a tattered flight suit, its skull lolling toward a half-crushed helmet beside it. Jax nudged the helmet with his boot. A faded insignia glinted. Earth Colonial Navy, 2167. Kane's stomach dropped. That's 200 years old. Mira crouched, her scanner whirring. Cause of death was... She froze. The corpse's ribcage was splayed outward. Bone snapped from the inside. Jax gagged. What the hell does that? The panel behind them hissed to life. A voice, garbled but human, crackled through, asterisk, containment breach. All personnel, evacuate to, asterisk static swallowed the rest. Then, clear as ice, asterisk, do not let them touch you. Asterisk, the lights died. Something scratched at the hatch. Myra's hand found Kane's wrist, her grip vice-tight. We're not the first humans here, she breathed. This ship knew us. Jack's back toward the panel, torch raised. Yeah, and it killed them. Cap. The scratching stopped. A new sound replaced it, a wet, rhythmic knocking, like flesh on metal. 3 strikes. A pause. 3 more. Kane's comm crackled. The Marauder S-pilot Rivas screamed through the static. Asterisk Kane. The derelict's engines just... Asterisk, the signal cut. Outside, the ship groaned. Deep in its belly, something awoke. The knocking grew louder. The knocking wasn't just sound anymore, it was vibration, shuddering through the deck plates beneath Kane's boots. The derelict was alive in ways that defied salvage manuals and training sims. Jack's back toward the flickering control panel, his torch spitting erratic sparks. That thing out there learns. It stopped when I flashed the light. Now it's knocking like it's fucking polite. His voice cracked. Mira didn't flinch. Her fingers danced across the dead screens, hunting for leverage. The Navy corpse. His suit had a neural interface. If I can patch into it. Kane's pistol stayed trained on the hatch. We don't have time for archaeology. Wrong. She wrenched a cable from the panel and jammed it into the corpse's helmet port. We need to know what killed him before it kills us. The screens flared. A distorted feed erupted, grainy, half-corrupted footage of a man screaming, his hands clawing his own ribs as something moved beneath his skin. Then text, scrolling too fast. Containment Protocol 7 Echo failed. Subjects breach quarantine. Do not let them touch you. The hatch dented inward with a metallic scream. Jack's lunged, torch flaring. Mira, asterisk now asterisk. She ripped the cable free. They're parasites. Intelligent ones. The Navy crew, they didn't die. They were consumed. Kane's blood iced over. The knocking had been a distraction. From the ceiling vents, something dropped. It hit the floor with the sound of wet leather, limbs unfolding too fast, too many, a tangle of jointed black appendages and a mouth that split vertically down its torso. Jax's torchlight caught its eyes. Human irises, set in a face of stretched cartilage. Oh, God, Mira whispered. Asterisk, that's Ensign Rook. From the footage. Asterisk, the thing that had been Rook charged. Kane fired. The round punched through its chest, spraying black fluid, but it didn't stop. Jax swung the torch like a bat. The plasma edge seared its arm, and it shrieked, a sound that echoed through the ship's bones. Mira was already at the opposite wall, prying open a service conduit. In here! They crawled, the thing's claws scraping after them. The conduit narrowed, metal biting into Kane's shoulders. Behind them, Rook's body twisted, contorting to follow. Jax kicked backward, his boot connecting with something wet. It's still, asterisk fuck asterisk, still coming. The conduit opened into a shaft. No ladder, just a sheer drop into darkness. Kane's comm crackled. Rivas's voice frantic. Asterisk Kane. The derelict's engines are cycling. It's asterisk roar static. Then clear. Asterisk. Docking clamps won't release. We're stuck. Asterisk. Myra's head snapped up. It's not just hunting us. It's trapping us. Below, something moved. A glint of eyes in the dark. Jax's torchlight trembled. We're in its nest. Kane made the call. We jump. They fell. The impact knocked the breath from Kane's lungs. The shaft had dumped him into a cavernous space. The derelict's cargo hold, maybe, but wrong. The walls pulsed with vain bioluminescence, and the air stank of copper and rot. And the floor moved. Mira gagged. They're eggs. Dozens of translucent sacks bulged from the deck, each one writhing with shadows. Inside, humanoid shapes twitched. Jax backed away, torch guttering. We need to burn this hole. A hand clamped over his mouth from behind. Kane spun, pistol up, but it was Rivas, the Marauder S pilot, her face streaked with blood. She mouthed run before the ceiling collapsed. Rook dropped into their midst, his body reknitting as they watched. And this time he wasn't alone. Two more figures peeled from the shadows. One wore the tattered remains of a Navy uniform. The other, Kane's stomach dropped. The other was Jax, or something wearing his face, its smile stretching too wide. The real Jax made a sound like a dying animal. What the hell is? The mimic lunged. Kane fired. The shot tore through its forehead, but it didn't even stagger. Mira grabbed his arm. The parasites, they're networked. You can't kill one unless you kill all. Rivas was already sprinting for a half-visible exit. This way. They ran, the things close behind. The corridor twisted, the ship itself seeming to shift around them. Kane's HUD map glitched, hallways rearranging in real time. Mira panted. It's hurting us again. The passage opened into a vast chamber. At its center stood a structure like an altar, crusted with dried biomass. And atop it, a pulse, a black, throbbing mass, veined with sickly light. It breathed, its surface rippling in time with the knocking that still echoed through the ship. Jax froze. That's the brain. The Queen. Kane's pistol felt suddenly useless. So we kill it. Myra's eyes locked on the altar's base, a stack of corroded charges. The Navy tried, but their bombs needed a trigger. She looked at Kane. A manual one. Rivas backed toward the exit. No way. That's suicide. The mimics reached the chamber. They paused at the threshold, heads tilting in unison, waiting. The Queen pulsed faster. Kane knew then. The ship hadn't just trapped them. It had chosen them. The Queen's pulse was a drumbeat in Kane's skull, syncing with the ship's unnatural vibrations. The mimics didn't advance, just watched, their stolen faces slack, as if waiting for permission. Jax's voice was raw. Those charges, they're ours now. One spark and... Asterisk, and we died too. Asterisk, Rivas finished, her hand shaking. This whole deck's a powder keg. Mira edged toward the altar, her eyes locked on the corroded detonator. Not necessarily. The Navy rigged these for a timed fuse. If we set it and run... Asterisk if asterisk being the problem. Jax snapped. Behind him, the mimic wearing his face grinned, its teeth too white. Kane's pistol felt useless. Bullets wouldn't kill these things, but fire might. He grabbed the torch from Jax. Mira, can you give us 60 seconds? She was already prying open the detonator panel. 40. Maybe. The Queen's pulse quickened. The mimics twitched in unison. Rivas backed toward the corridor. I'll clear the path. A tendril shot from the ceiling, wrapping her throat. She gagged as it yanked her upward, her boots kicking empty air. Jax lunged, torch flaring. The tendril severed, spraying acidic ichor. Rivas dropped, gasping, the flesh around her neck already blistering. It's playing with us, she choked out. Myra's fingers flew over the detonator. 30 seconds. Go. Asterisk now asterisk. Kane hauled Rivas up, Jax covering their rear as the mimics finally surged forward. The corridor had changed, walls pinched inward, veins of bioluminescence now throbbing red. The ship was reacting. Left! Mira yelled. The hallway split, the right path sealed by a sudden growth of black chitin. Behind them, the first charge detonated. The shock wave knocked Kane to his knees. Heat roared past them, the explosion ripping through the Queen's chamber, but the ship absorbed the blast, the walls flexing like living tissue. Jax cursed. It's not enough. Myra's tablet flashed. The fuse chain needs another trigger. The primary charge didn't. A mimic slammed into her, its elongated fingers gripping her wrist. Kane fired point-blank into its temple. It reeled but held on, its grip tightening until Myra's bones creaked. Jax swung the torch. The flame caught its arm, the fire spreading up its stolen flesh like it was made of paper. The mimic screamed, a sound that echoed through every corridor, every vent, and the others answered. The ship convulsed. Ceiling panels rained down as the deck tilted. Kane grabbed Mira, dragging her forward. The docking port, asterisk move asterisk. Rivas limped ahead, her burns weeping. The Marauder S still clamped. We can't. Asterisk, yes we can, asterisk. Jax snarled. He wrenched open a maintenance panel, exposing the ship's manual release, a lever crusted in organic growth. But we blow the clamps, we're stranded if the derelict follows. Kane looked at Mira. Her wrist was already bruising, her pupils dilated with pain, but she nodded. Burn it all. Jax pulled the lever. Somewhere deep in the ship, machinery groaned. The mimics shrieked in unison, their pursuit faltering as if physically pained. The docking port was 20 meters ahead, sealed. Rivas slammed her palm against the control pad. It's not asterisk shit asterisk. It's not recognizing us. Mira shoved her aside, jamming her data spike into port's override. It's not your ship anymore. The door hissed open. The Marauder's airlock beckoned, its white lights blinding after the derelict's hellish glow. They stumbled across the threshold, Jax slamming the lock sequence, as the mimic wearing his face lunged from the shadows. Its fingers brushed Kane's ankle before the door crushed him. The severed digits writhed on the deck like spiders, then dissolved into black sludge. Silence. The Marauder's engines roared to life. Rivas already in the pilot seat. We're loose. But her screen flashed. Asterisk, it's powering up too. Asterisk. Kane collapsed into the co-pilot's chair. The viewport showed the derelict, its pitch-black hull now rippling with veins of crimson light. It's not letting us go. Mira gripped her injured wrist. It can't. We know what it is now. Jack stared at the airlock, his face ashen. And it knows us. The derelict's engines flared. It turned to follow.